everyone, welcome to week 18 of Life Cues, and in my usual fashion I'm going to just talk and work. I've got some yellow watercolor here, and I'm just going to put a few drops on the page. I don't know, maybe there's a hole in this. Oh, at the bottom, yep. I was wondering why am I getting yellow, so I'll just use the bottom part where the little hole is. And then I'll tape that up to seal it in. And then I'm going to use some blue acrylic paint and then just kind of swirl it across the page. So the prompt for today is saying goodbye. And this is mainly applicable to saying goodbye in a funeral setting when someone you love, someone dear to you has passed away, and how to look on it. And I was just recently at a funeral. I was at a couple of funerals, but this particular one, the way the priest explained death and dying was so, it spoke to me so well. It was such a good analogy. It would be so wonderful to tell children that. It was just such a good analogy that I thought I would put it in an art journal page. So let me just strip this on first. That might be way too much. That probably is, but... And then I'm going to take my little plastic scraper thing. I'm not even sure what this was at one point, but anyway, and just swirl it across. So what he had said, he said, when you go to an airport to say goodbye to someone, you walk them up to the gates, you're with them, you walk them up to their gates until there comes a point where you just are not allowed to go with them anymore. So you stand behind the security thing, and they walk on through, and then you keep looking, and then at one moment they're just not visible. They're gone. They've gone to somewhere else. They've gone on a journey elsewhere. You're not sure if you'll ever see them again, but they've gone to a different destination. And I was like, that is such a great visual analogy, because you walk up to the gates, you say your goodbyes, you hug them, you tell them how much you love them for the last time before they go through those gates until you can no longer visually see them anymore. And I was like, that is... For me, that was just the perfect picture until you see them again, which whatever you call heaven or however you believe, but until you see them again. And you watch the plane take off into the sky, and then it's gone until you see them again. And I was just, I don't know why it was such a simplistic way of describing saying goodbye or farewell, like an airport. And for me, it really struck home. So I wanted to do a page about that. I'm just going to go grab my gesso. This is kind of greeny. So I'm just going to put a few dabs of gesso on here as well. And maybe a little bit more blue. Of course, I should have known when you add blue to yellow, you're going to get green. I'll just put a couple of dabs of blue. So I just had this vision in my head for the last little while of, you know, the airport, the point where we traverse to that airport gate, and then you say goodbye until you see them again. And it's such a, like I said, very, very simple concept, but it really, really spoke to me. And sometimes that's how things are, you know. It doesn't have to be some complicated theological definition or explanation, but it just spoke to me. And I was just thinking about all my little grandsons. That would speak to them too. Until you see them again, you know. So I'm going to let this dry, but what I'm going to add to this once it's dry, when I come back, I had some poinsettia, gold poinsettia leaves, and they are right here. I pulled them off the plant. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take them and separate them a bit, because I want this to appear more like the magical place you go to, like heavenish. So I'm going to tear, I might have to cut them. I don't think tearing will, because it's really that plasticky stuff, you know. So just tear it up into little bits. And I'm going to use my gel medium and apply it to the back there, just to the upper part of the page. And by the time I finish getting it all snipped, it's obviously going to be dry. Acrylic dries so fast, which is so great. That's what I love. I'm not going to use that hard part because it's kind of down by the stem of the leaf. You know, sometimes you buy this cheap stuff and then you think, oh, it's Christmas over, maybe I'll chuck it. You can always use it in art journaling. Always. So here's my regular gel medium. And I'll get a brush and I will just start, I think I might just put a coat down of this and then just apply this to it. That's probably going to be the easiest way. Yeah, the paint's still a little wet, but not crazy wet. Who has time to wait, right? I don't. Yeah, and just do it like that all over the page. Yeah, that'll work. So I'll be back. So I've glued down my fake lame. Now, you're noticing I don't want to move my book around too much because underneath I created this, well, I'll just go ahead and show you, out of a piece of paper, and I don't want it to get out of order. So I wanted to kind of look at a pathway to getting to the gates. So I think if I took the center one first and then work from there. Yeah. So they're all just in different, I could have just cut a piece of paper, but they're all in different pieces of scrap paper. Can you see that? Oh. So can you see what I'm doing here at the bottom? Oh, I hope you can see. Let me just try. At the end of the page there you can see. So I'm filling in the paper. I cut a piece of paper and then I labeled it bottom right, bottom left. So you can see that, bottom right. And it goes right here, and that's the bottom, because it was so difficult for me. My brain is not a very puzzly type brain. I have trouble with puzzles. I was going to do the whole page like that, and I'm like, no, you're not. Because it isn't going to work that way. But I just wanted it to look like you're coming towards the center of something. You know, like this is the front entryway of the airport, so to speak. So as you can see, my pathway to heaven is from the airport doors, and you walk to the doors and then you're off, and we will see you again when we see you. So I had these inspirational thingies, sticker things. Ugh. And I wanted to put something, oh, they're sticky, in the middle. And that's Capitol Building, that's Empire State Building. I don't know what that is, and that's Leaning Tower of Pisa. But this is the pyramids. And they're kind of spiritually in a way, and it kind of blocks all the ends that didn't quite perfectly match up. So I'm just going to glue that in the middle. Now I'm going to let some of this dry. I'm just going to go ahead and let this dry, and then I'll come back. So for me, this page is so self-explanatory for me. So I don't want to add a whole bunch of stuff, you know. But I do want to write a quote on this page, and basically saying that goodbyes are not forever. So here's the finished page. I know it seemed very easy and simple to you guys, but this part took me a long time to do, the cutting out the paper thing. So the quote says, "Goodbyes are not forever. Goodbyes are not the end. They simply mean I'll miss you. There's the I'll miss you until we meet again. And so you go to the airport door and you say your goodbyes, and the people go through and you'll see them again one day. And I just thought that was just such a good analogy for explaining when people die, especially if you have to explain it to children. I thought it was great. And even to me, for me, it was just like perfect. Airport. Perfect. So anyway, I hope you guys like my page. I forgot to write the date. It is the 14th of May. Yesterday was Mother's Day. Hope all mothers out there had a wonderful, why am I writing February? Ugh. May 14, 18. There we go. So there is the finished page, and I'm not adding any more to it. I think that's amazing how that gold leaf from the cheap plastic leaf literally kind of looks like gold leaf. You know what I'm saying? The real gold leaf, even though that is a real gold leaf. I need to be quiet. Okay, I hope you guys have a great day, and we'll see you next week. Bye.